So, seeing as the film Donnie Darko has inspired me so much, I thought I'd look further into its film storyline. And also, seeing as the film is so complicated, there are so many ways to look at it from and there's so many interpretations of it. And seeing as the film is so cleverly made, there are different explanations of it and the audience just tend to have their own interpretation of it, which I really do enjoy about the storyline. This is why I thought it'd be a good example for a storyline and to look into it in loads more depth, as it has a range of ideas to develop and look into and work from. The film was directed and written by Richard Kelly. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal and Jenna Malone, and Richard Kelly, the director, was very much inspired by Back to the Future and Stephen King. So, without further ado, let's jump straight into the storyline. So, the film Donnie Darko is about parallel universes. Alternate timelines that coexist with each other. Donnie Darko, a troubled teenager, is awakened and led outside by a figure in a rabbit costume who introduces himself as Frank and tells him the world will end in 28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes and 12 seconds.
28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, 12 seconds. That is when the world will end.
Why?
At dawn, Donnie returns home to find a jet engine has crashed into his bedroom. Donnie tells his psychotherapist, Dr. Thurman, about his visits from Frank.
I don't want to be alone.
Acting under Frank's influence, he floods his school by damaging a water pipe. He also begins dating new student Gretchen Ross, who has moved to town with her mother under a new identity to escape her violent stepfather.
You're weird.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was a compliment.
Farmer, a teacher from Donnie's school, begins teaching attitude lessons taken from a motivational speaker, Jim Cunningham. Donnie rebels against these motivational lessons, leading to tension between the teacher and Donnie's mother, Rose.
Fear and love are the deepest of human emotions.
Okay, but you're not listening to me. There are other things that need to be taken into account here, like the whole spectrum of human emotion. You can't just lump everything into these two categories and then just deny everything else.
If you don't complete the assignment, you'll get a 0 for the day.
Donnie asks his science teacher, Dr. Kenneth, about time travel after Frank brings up the topic and is given the book The Philosophy of Time Travel, written by Roberta Sparrow, a former science teacher at the school who is now a mentally insane old woman. The book explains that time travel is possible when there is a disruption of time of the primary universe. The disruption creates a tangent universe which can only exist for a few weeks, as stated by Frank, before collapsing into a black hole which will destroy the primary universe with it. So the real universe we live in now is called the primary universe. The alternate timeline that 28 days of the film is set in is called the tangent universe. Donnie must close his tangent universe before it implodes. Those who die in the tangent universe, which are called the manipulated dead, can time travel to appear in that universe before their deaths. This would be Frank. They must guide the living receiver, which is Donnie Darko, and create an insurance trap, which forces the living receiver to use the fourth dimension powers and return the metal artifact, which is the plane, to the primary universe to bring back harmony. Once time is restored, people will probably have no memory of what happened in the tangent universe, though they may have disturbing dreams. Thurman then tells Donnie's parents that he is detached from reality, and his visions of Frank are daylight hallucinations, which are symptoms of paranoid schizophrenia.
Has he ever told you about his friend Frank?
Donnie then disrupts a speech being given by Jim Cunningham by insulting him in front of the school.
You're right, actually. I'm pretty troubled and I'm pretty confused, but I'm afraid, really afraid. Really afraid, but I think you're the fucking Antichrist. Then burns down Cunningham's house on instructions from Frank. When police find evidence of child pornography in the house's remains, Cunningham is arrested.
During a hypnotherapy session, Donnie confesses his crimes to Dr. Thurman and says that Frank will soon kill someone. Donnie and his sister Elizabeth throw a Halloween party to celebrate her acceptance to Harvard. Gretchen arrives, distraught that her mother has disappeared. Realising that only hours remain before Frank's prophesied end of the world, Donnie takes Gretchen and 2 friends to seek Roberta Sparrow at her house. They are attacked by 2 school bullies who are attempting to rob Sparrow's house. An oncoming car swerves to avoid Sparrow, who went for her daily walk to check the mailbox, but runs over Gretchen, killing her. The driver is Elizabeth's new boyfriend Frank, wearing the same rabbit costume as the Franks of Donnie's visions. Donnie shoots him in the eye with his father's gun, killing him. As a vortex forms in dark clouds above his house, Donnie drives into the hills and watches as an aeroplane descends from above. The plane, carrying Donnie's mother and sister, lurches as one of its engines detaches and falls into the vortex. Events of the previous 28 days repeat in reverse order and action, propelled by Donnie's powers, until Donnie finds himself in bed in the early hours.
In which I'm dying, or the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Children waiting for the day they feel good. Happy birthday, happy birthday. And to feel the way that every child should sit and listen, sit and listen. Went to school and I was very...
The insurance trap has worked. He sits laughing uncontrollably, knowing that his fate is to die, so that his mother, sister, Gretchen and Frank may live and the black hole will be averted. Suddenly, the jet engine, the artifact, crashes through his room, killing him, as it should have done and now does in the primary universe. Others with whom Donnie had interacted with in the 28 tangent world awaken, some looking disturbed.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for their daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. Their tears are filling up their glasses, no expression, no expression. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kinda funny, I find it kinda sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Children waiting for the day they feel good. Happy birthday, happy birthday. And to feel the way that every child should sit and listen, sit and listen. Went to school and I was very nervous. No one knew me, no one knew me. Hello teacher, tell me what's my lesson. Look right through me, look right through me. And I find it kinda funny, I find it kinda sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. The people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world.
Gretchen rides by Donnie's house and learns of his death from a neighbourhood boy, but says she did not know him. Gretchen and Rose exchange a glance and wave as if they know one another, but cannot remember from where. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole storyline summed up in a video for you. So I'm just going to talk a bit about my ideas and how I'm going to use Donnie Darko as an inspiration, how I'm going to include it into my film. So even though the storyline, as you can see, is very complicated and it's a lot to take in, I believe it is so clever and amazing. I suppose you would probably need to watch the film a couple of times to completely understand it. I think that's the whole point of the film. I think you're supposed to have your interpretation of it and have your own perspective of it. I like how the storyline is also constantly questioning their audience, which engages them further. Well, especially me, I was constantly engaged through the film. It has raised so many discussions, alternative endings, and just made its audience think and talk about the film. I believe this is a very important element to include when creating your film. However, even though this film has inspired me in so many different ways, doing a storyline this complicated is out of the question. Using elements from it, such as premonitions, dreams, hallucinations, is definitely being taken into consideration, and I'm working on that at the moment. But trying to do a complex storyline with a low budget and less experience would just make the film less effective, which goes against the whole object I want to achieve. Now I've highlighted the main themes, premonitions, dreams and hallucinations, I can now look into this more depth and decide what to base my film on. So my next post will be discussing these 3 themes and trying to come up with a storyline for my film and trying to base my ideas on one of these themes. So look out for that, and until next time.